Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred, and I am half the hockey fan.
How are we doing, Fred?
Oh, we're sick.
Yes, we have gotten a lot of things this week. You got a 3D printer.
I got a 3D printer.
I got a tattoo.
You got a tattoo.
And we both got colds.
Yeah.
So.
And our daughter's still battling hers 3 weeks in.
Yes. So it's really going into the holiday break. We're all doing great. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Last week was all hyped up for not working this week, and it crushed us.
Yes. And now we'll spend this week just in bed, probably.
There we go.
Well, luckily we have hockey to get us through this sad and tragic life we have.
Yep.
And there was a lot of hockey news this week, so I think we should just jump right into it.
Let's do it. I'm not too familiar with what's going on, so...
You never really are, to be fair. And I'm not just talking about hockey. I'm just talking about life in general.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about hockey.
Okay. I'm glad you have some self-awareness of that. So starting off on Sunday, the Capitals played the Golden Knights and they won 5-2. And Alexander Ovechkin had a hat trick. So at this rate, he's definitely going to break Gretzky's record this season, right? Maybe,
okay, this one I know about.
Yeah, maybe not so fast. Because on Monday night, Alex Ovechkin collided with a Utah player and left the ice with a leg injury. Turns out he fractured his left fibula and is estimated to be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
That is wild. It didn't look like much of a hit from what I remember.
At first, they kind of were like, well, it's an injury. We don't really know how bad it is yet. He's going back to get evaluated. But sometimes with those fibula fractures, the swelling is so bad you can't really tell if there's anything broken yet.
Right.
So it was a few days before we knew that there was a fracture. But from what I understand of the media who, spend time around at the Capitals arena, they've seen Ovechkin and he does not have a walking boot on or crutches, nor does he even appear to be walking with a limp. So, and he showed up to an NBA game last week and same thing, was just out there walking around fine.
He'll be fine. He's tough.
He is.
He's got a job to do. He's got to get going.
He does. He's been playing for 20 seasons and he's only missed 35 games due to injury in that entire time span.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of the reason why he is able to come close to break Gretzky's record. It's not just the fact that he's a great scorer. It's the injury-free thing, too.
Right.
Because there are other great scorers, but they don't stay as healthy as he does. So
well, all right.
I think his bones are just knitting themselves together extra fast, and we'll probably see him back on the ice in 5 to 7 business days at this rate.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if that affects things when he gets back.
Yeah, I think if anything, he'll probably come back with a vengeance. He'll be like, come on, guys, I was going to do this by Christmas. And players are not the only ones at risk of injury. On Monday night, we were watching the Flyers-Avs game, and Avalanche defenseman Josh Manson collided with a referee who took a hard fall on the ice.
Yeah, we saw that live.
We did, and it was pretty startling.
It didn't make any sense, like what had happened and why it was so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't like a high-speed hit. It didn't really happen during the action. It wasn't like during a really high-speed play. It didn't seem...
It was just a weird fall?
It was just a weird fall. He was kind of skating backwards. Manson was skating forwards, but not really looking where he was going. At the last minute, it kind of looked like he saw that they were going to collide and kind of tried to change course, but his stick caught the ref. And the ref kind of went in the air and did a twist in the air and came down, and I guess was maybe not feeling his hands when he came down. So out of an abundance of caution, they put him on the backboard and he was stretchered off the ice and taken right to the hospital. The rest of the game was only refed with one referee. And the NHL PR department was tweeting out updates on his condition, which I don't know if I've ever seen that during a game before.
Yeah, they were giving updates. And the updates were vague at the time because nobody knew what had happened. They're like, he can move his fingers. And we're like, is that good or bad?
Yeah, we were like, we didn't know it was like that big a thing.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But
anyway, no big deal. Moving on, right?
He's home. He's expected to make a full recovery. So I think it wasn't as bad as it looked, but it was still pretty scary.
Yeah.
I think nobody was more scared than Josh Manson. He looked like pretty sick to his stomach.
Right.
Once they started bringing out the backboard.
He skated over and said something as he was being lugged off, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And you could tell he wanted to go sooner, but people on the bench were like, no, let them get him on the stretcher first, dude. So that was pretty startling.
Yeah.
But there was some good news on Monday. The NHL announced their 3 stars of the week. The first star of the week was Connor McDavid, which makes sense because that was the week that he hit his 1,000th point milestone.
Mm-hmm.
But the second star of the week went to Mason Marchment.
Yeah, your guy. Our
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our guy. Fair enough. Not your guy.
No, I mean, he's been with the Stars. He signed with them in the summer of 2022. So this is his third season with the team.
Mm-hmm.
You started watching with me, I would say, full-time last season, but season before that, you watched with me kind of part-time. And you and I really kind of were, I would say, early on the Marchment train.
Oh, yeah.
His first season, he had some ups and downs, which was understandable. He, lost his father unexpectedly over the summer.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. And he was kind of finding his footing, and he, was not necessarily a known quantity coming in, but we really liked him. We were also kind of taking care of a special needs squirrel at the same time, and we kind of had the same level of affection for him.
We're very parental with him or something. I don't know.
No, we really are. We're just like, oh, what a sweet boy. Like, we just need to take care of him. He's just misunderstood.
He is.
So it was really nice to see him getting the recognition he deserves from the league.
Well, I mean, he fucking crushed it too, so that helped. It's not like a charity.
No, I know. I mean, he's earned it for sure, but he's been really improving sort of by leaps and bounds over the last couple of seasons. So it's nice to see, I guess, that we saw something in him that is now
ground floor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, people are like, oh, I wish I had him on my fantasy team. And I'm like, I have him on both my fantasy teams, so suck it.
Yeah. Then you have for 2 years now.
I did. He's always been my secret weapon. Yep. So it's great. Tuesday, we had some more big news. We had the first coaching casualty of the season.
Oh, okay. I guess I did know news that was happening this week.
You did. You don't necessarily pay attention to it in the context of it being news. You just can't escape from it in the house because I'm always talking about it.
Yeah. So Jim Montgomery's out.
He is. The Bruins have fired Jim Montgomery. Joe Sacco is going to be the interim coach in Boston for now. I did say at the time that Montgomery would get a new coaching position sooner than later. For all that the NHL really sucks at sort of civic and social issues, they're really good at recycling when it comes to head coaches.
Right.
Well, it turns out I was right, but it happened even faster than I thought.
Wow. Is he going to the Penguins?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, that'll never happen. No, as of this morning, the St. Louis Blues fired Drew Bannister as their head coach and brought in Jim Montgomery. So,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know who they fired. Wasn't he just new?
I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I think he was not necessarily meant to be a long-term solution.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it was necessarily a big surprise.
All right. Well, good. But I'm excited that we'll keep seeing his shiny head.
We will. And, he briefly coached the Stars for a while, so he'll be reunited with Radek Faksa over on the Blues.
Did not know that.
Yes, he did. It was, he had to leave to go to rehab, I believe. It was not a great time for him.
So, what I'm noticing with news is the more you are aware of it and the longer you are involved in things, the more relationships you have with more teams. Because, I know this guy. I've seen him talk. I am familiar with his whole thing, and now he's going to be at a new team, and now I'll have context on that new team probably. It's weird. Anyway.
That's really kind of how I've gotten to know hockey. It just starts out with you following one team, and then before you know it, you're like...
Before you know it, that team's split up to all 32 teams, and now you follow all of them.
Yeah, right. It just is like a slippery slope.
Interesting.
The snowball going down the mountain and turning into a avalanche.
I know too much now.
Yeah, you can't unknow it.
I don't know it effectively or in order or with any coherence, but I know things.
Right. And soon you'll be able to access them and have opinions.
Oh, that's
how it started. This is how it started for me. I didn't know shit about hockey a couple years ago.
It's not going to be good for anybody.
Now it's all I know. I don't know anything about anything, but I know a lot of stuff about hockey. Speaking of people who don't know a lot about hockey, the Nashville Predators.
Oh, boy.
Keep discovering increasingly arcane ways to fuck up. On Wednesday, they played the Kraken in Seattle, and apparently the away team has to submit their starting lineup to the home team, which is a thing I didn't know.
We learned that. They were saying that on some game.
Yeah, I think it was just on a thing we were watching.
Oh, yeah.
Man Up or something.
Right.
So Philip Forsberg went out for the opening faceoff when the written down lineup had said Steven Stamkos was going to be going out.
Mm-hmm.
So the video coach just caught that and we're like, hey, that's not who you said we're going out. So they let Jessica Campbell know, who let the refs know. And it turns out that's a penalty. So
wild.
Yeah, they started off the game immediately on a penalty.
On a power play. Nothing came of it though, right?
No, nothing came of it.
But still, that's wild.
It's a pretty embarrassing way to start the game. I mean, that's really basic level stuff.
That is basic person manage. That's not even management. I feel like our daughter could handle that job.
Yeah. And apparently, it should have just been caught way earlier because it's like Steven Stamkos never plays on a line with the other two people who were on that lineup. So
oh, wow. They're just asleep at the wheel.
They kind of just already had it flagged as like, well, that's weird. So they kind of were already on the lookout for like, that doesn't seem like that is something that would normally happen. So they kind of noticed it right away that like, yeah, no, he wasn't actually out there.
Jim Montgomery's going to get a job there soon.
I mean, he's just going to be in charge of all of the teams. It's way more efficient that way. So, yeah, the Kraken did not score on that power play, but they did eventually win 3-0, and Joey Decord got his first shutout of the season.
Cool. We like him. He's funny.
He is great. He gets.
I don't know if he's funny, but yeah, he's good.
Yeah, no, I enjoy him. I think he's adorable. So that takes us into Friday, where Sidney Crosby from the Penguins and Kyle Connor from the Jets dropped the gloves and had a little fight.
Yep, that was news.
Was newsworthy because neither is a big fighter.
Did not know that. Now I do.
Now you do. Yes, Sidney Crosby has been playing for 20 years, and this was only his 10th fight. Kyle Connor's in his 8th season, and this was his first fight. So,
first fight in 8 seasons.
That is not a thing that they usually do.
I guess I didn't realize some people don't fight.
Yeah.
I thought that was just part of it, but I guess it's a little bit more nuanced than I thought.
Your skill guys are not usually your fighty guys.
Gotcha.
Usually your skill guys are the ones who are scoring your goals, and then your fighty guys are the ones who are protecting your skill guys and your babies.
Gotcha.
Jamie Benn's kind of always been a fighter. Jamie Benn was never expected to be a skill guy. The fact that he got an Art Ross, people are kind of like, wait, what?
Gotcha.
But yeah, the goons, quote unquote, it's not really as much of a thing anymore. But yeah, they're there protecting your other guys.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was such a distinction of hierarchy and roles in the fighting sense, but it makes sense, and now I get it.
There is. Yeah. I mean, after the game, Kyle Connor said, we're not taking shit from anybody, but the Jets coach, Scott Arniel, said, no, I do not want to see that. Great. He got a Gordie Howe hat trick, but I don't want to see my top goal scorer dropping gloves. So he was not impressed with his guy fighting with Sidney Crosby.
Somebody else should be fighting on his behalf if he's so mad.
Right. And I mean, Penguins fans were like, why is Sidney having to fight with people?
They got to do something at that org.
It's
but you say they're not going to.
I think the most obvious solution would be firing the coach. And from what I understand, that's not going to happen. So,
oof.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, apparently.
Also on Friday, former Penguin Marc-Andre Fleury played in his 1,030th game, which moved him into third on the NHL's all-time games played list for goalies.
Cool.
So he passed Patrick Waugh.
Yep.
It also was his 1,000th start. So
cool.
Big milestone game.
How many games? 1,030?
Yeah. So it was his 1,000th start, but his 1,030th game. So
he's only not started 30 games.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's been.
No, that can't be right.
No. So I don't know if you know what I mean.
I don't, obviously.
Well, there's plenty of games he hasn't started where he has not also gone in. There are some games where he started and then he's gone in to replace other goalies. So that's what that difference is.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are plenty of other games that he has not played in.
I was going to say, yeah, he's been playing every game, every season for his entire career. Okay, I'm tracking.
Yeah.
All right, move along. Ignore me.
That's okay. I'm used to it. I usually do. Well, Marc-Andre Fleury, known for pranking people.
He is.
So he decided to play a great prank on everybody by allowing an insane goal 27 seconds in where Leon Draisaitl shot from halfway across the rink, and it just took this weird bounce in.
It rolled, right?
It just rolled. It was just rolling pretty slow speed down the rink, and at the last second it bounced over Fleury's stick and right into the goal, and was just everyone was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah,
that was cool. I guess I am in the news because I knew that too.
Yeah, you just don't know that it's news when it's happening.
Yeah, but that was funny. That was cool.
It was very funny. It ended up being funnier and better because the Wild did pull out the win. They won 5-3.
Nice.
It would have been a really sad thing if the Oilers would have gone on to crush the Wild. But
yeah.
Luckily, the Wild pulled it together. Fleury did say afterwards that his team was very cool about it and went over and kind of gave him shoulder pats and laughed about it a little bit. And they were like, "Don't worry about it. We got you." And just really kind of cranked up the offense and the defense and
nice.
Just really kind of saved his butt. So That was really cute.
That's fun.
More milestones. On Saturday, Sidney Crosby scored his 600th career goal, which is an incredible milestone, but unfortunately was the only bright spot for the Penguins, who lost 6-1 to Utah in that game.
God, it's rough out there for them.
It is really hard to be a Penguin or a Penguin fan, I imagine, these days.
Yeah, I think so. We watched, you said that was Saturday?
That was Saturday.
Oh, so yesterday you got it?
Yes. Yeah,
Gotcha.
That was yesterday. But earlier in the week, I think was it Next Man Up? One of the hockey YouTubers we watched did a video about a Penguins game, maybe the Penguins and the Jets game. And
oh, yeah, that was another one.
Very sad about
it's
how they look.
They don't look good. And we watched the after interview with the goalie. I'm not sure. I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, yeah. You can just call him Ned.
Ned. Yeah, I watched the interview with Ned, and Ned's like, this sucks. This is a bad feeling. We need to pay the price for this. We need to figure things out. It's not about skills. It's not about ability. It's about mindset. It's like, whoa, dude's calling people out. It sounds to me, I don't know what people took away from it, but it sounds like he's calling out the organization and being like, things are fucked up, guys. We need to fix this anyway.
Yeah, it was not ideal. I mean, even in the comments of that video, that the post game that you're talking about, people are like, it wasn't your fault, Ned.
Yeah, they hung him out to dry, right?
Yeah, they apparently did. I didn't watch the game, but...
That wasn't the one. No, that was the Jets game where Malkin just like diddled with the puck in front of the net, and then a Jet came in and just lapped it right in there.
I think so, yeah. I don't know what's going on over there, but it's not good. And I'm glad when I first got into hockey and I started thinking about which team to support, they were on my short list, but I ended up going with the Stars, which, as much as the Stars frustrate me, at least we're not doing that right now. So good job, boys.
Not right now, but...
And then other big stuff from the weekend, the San Jose Sharks retired Joe Thornton's number, and it was a whole extravaganza.
Yeah. I don't know that guy, but he seems cool. He was before my time, basically, right?
He was even kind of before my time.
Yeah.
Or at least I wasn't like paying that much attention to him when I started. He wasn't really sort of that much on my radar. The city of San Jose declared on Thursday, they declared that Saturday would be Joe Thornton Day. And on Thursday, they did this proclamation at City Hall. And during a speech, they read out some words that former teammates used to describe Thornton. Words described included icon, legendary, and beard, because he has that beard.
The beard is pretty distinctive.
It is. When it was his turn to speak, he told the mayor that he probably would have used the word sexy to describe himself. And then he also said that he was going to change it to be Joe Thornton Weekend, not Joe Thornton Day.
Wow.
So I think that just kind of describes him in a nutshell. Like, he is a character.
That seems like a good vibe for the town.
It really does. Yeah. And then on Friday, the Sharks hosted their second ever Legends game, where they brought back several retired players, including Joe Pavelski.
Yep. Good old Joe.
Good old Joe. We saw a picture of him from the game. He looks ridiculously handsome.
Yeah, now that he doesn't have to like work out like a madman all the time. And yeah, because he's retired, right? I'm sure he still works out, but like not what they're doing now.
He just looks relaxed.
He looks relaxed.
His hair looks great.
Great. Skin looks good.
Yeah, no, he's
taking care of himself.
He's living his best life. It's wonderful. He came back to play in the game. It was fun because Thornton was the team captain for both squads.
Interesting.
Yeah, because, it's his jersey retirement. He can do whatever he wants. And if he wants to be the captain for both teams, he can be the captain for both teams.
It's a very sexy move of him.
Very sexy. And then his kids each coached one of the teams, but they were assisted by other sort of NHL adjacent people, including Brian Boucher, who briefly played for the Sharks at one point. He was one of the coaches for...
Love Bouche.
Yes. He's great.
I will say we saw his kids on something that we turned off, being interviewed about the number retirement, and his kids were kind of awesome. Or at least his daughter was. His son was kind of meh. But his daughter...
They're children. They're children. Be nice.
But she had a lot to say, and she was eloquent and interesting.
Yeah, that's on, I think, the Sharks YouTube channel. Jason Spezza interviewed the whole Thornton family as sort of like a docu-series about the jersey retirement and everything. So it's kind of a nice behind the scenes.
The man owns a nice field with nice hay bales.
Yes, incredibly nice hay bales. Yep. Very tall hay bales.
Very tall.
I've never seen a hay bale that tall.
Nope.
And then, so that was on Friday, was that game. And then on Saturday, they officially retired his jersey. So it was a big whole weekend extravaganza.
Wow.
And then just a couple other bits and bobs. Artur Shilovs of the Canucks made a really memorable save during the week. He lost his stick and blocker, so his right hand was bare and unprotected, and his team couldn't gather control of the puck, so play had to go on. And a Rangers player made a shot, and Shilovs kind of jolted it off of his chest and bounced it into his glove for the save. And so for a while, he was actually playing with his bare hand kind of tucked behind him, probably to, overrule the muscle memory of like throwing out his blocker, because if he throws out his blocker, it's just going to be his bare hand catching the puck, which is going to be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really great. It was, kind of a fun follow-up to Anthony Stolarz' save from a few weeks ago, where he just put his bare hand down on the ice amongst all the skate blades and flipped the puck.
These goalies are nuts.
They're insane. Sportsnet continued to deliver some really fun behind-the-scenes content. This week, they had a video where they got Senators players to try to spell Stützle and Tkachuk backwards.
That was funny. I couldn't have done it either.
I mean, as many of the players that I don't know if I could spell Tkachuk forwards.
I have had success and failure. Probably 30-70 spelling Tkachuk when I'm like texting or writing things.
I've typed it out enough now in sort of my notes for this podcast that my phone autofills it now,
that's helpful.
Which is great. It's like back when I used to do TV writing and I covered Dancing with the Stars, and it would autofill Chmarkovsky for me. It was very helpful.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
But yeah, that was fun content.
It was great. It was very notable that Tim Stützle was able to spell Tkachuk backwards right away, but really struggled with his own last name.
Interesting. Backwards. Yeah. I feel like if I saw that name all the time on the back of a jersey, I'd be able to visualize it and work backwards. But that's me, and I'm not a hockey player, so.
Yeah, it's a whole different brain chemistry right there. I think that we mentioned last week that Ryan Reeves had a really nasty hit on Darnell Nurse right to the head.
Yeah, he sure did.
Reeves did end up getting a 5-game suspension, and Nurse missed a few games, but he was back last night when the Oilers played against the Rangers, and he scored a goal, and then he kind of comically knocked on his helmet and pointed at his head, made a really goofy face like, hey, you can't take me out of the game.
Wow.
So that was pretty cute.
That seems weird, but
I don't know. It was nice to see him having a good time. He's kind of been through it the last couple of years.
I do think he's probably an okay guy.
I think he is too. I mean, he's related to Sarah Nurse, so
she's cool as hell.
She's cool as hell, so it's got to be contagious.
Well,
you would think. I don't know. And then speaking of head injuries, Tom Wilson is back on his bullshit.
Yeah.
The Capitals have been releasing all of this behind the scenes footage lately, and I've really started to like some of the players, and they've been sort of starting to make me like Tom Wilson a little bit.
That was a sentence I had heard maybe a week or two ago.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Tom Wilson, as I said, is back on his bullshit. The Capitals played Utah on Monday. This was the same game where Ovi broke his leg. And Tom Wilson went after Lawson Krause, got him down on the ice and started swinging. And then Krause's helmet popped off. And Tom Wilson kept on swinging and bounced his head off the ice and was going to keep punching.
Yeah.
And a ref actually got down and cradled the back of Lawson's head and got on top of Lawson's head to protect his face so he couldn't get punched anymore. And it's just not cool. Just knock it off, Tom Wilson. You seem pretty okay when you're not on the ice, and then you do stuff like that. And I'm like, I want to like you, but that's not cool.
It's not cool. No, I don't care for it.
I've had a head injury. They suck.
Yeah,
it's not cool. It's just behave yourself.
Well, I mean, luckily he got the 4-minute penalty, so he knows that he did bad.
Yeah, and that's all he got. There's no supplemental discipline whatsoever.
Nothing at all. Nope.
Yeah, and the thing is that I only have room to be an apologist for one player who sometimes crosses the line, and that's Jamie Benn. And my dance card is otherwise full.
Yeah.
So, Tom Wilson, clean it up, or else I cannot like you. I do not have the emotional bandwidth for it.
He's going to do it again. You should just let it go now.
I'm just going to let it go now. So yeah, even with Jamie, I will say, I get it why people don't like him. I will defend him to a certain extent, but I know some of the things he has done are not quite defensible. So
yeah. I mean, it seems like within the league, everybody's going to do something questionable at some point.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of patterns.
It's a matter of patterns.
It's a matter of patterns.
Yeah. I can see, again, too, I can see with Jamie Benn, he has fucked up a couple of times over the years. So
Yeah.
I still maintain that he is not the irreparable goon that people think that he is. And he's not just out there like targeting people for funsies.
Right.
Tom Wilson, I don't know. Like it was so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. I just don't get it.
Agreed.
I will say I have seen lately people talk about like the Stars being goons, which is like hilarious because other than Jamie Benn, we really don't have people who like fight on our team. But people have started like lumping Mason Marchment in with it. Mason Marchment is not a goon. I am Mason Marchment's attorney and he is innocent.
He's not a goon. He's a goof.
Exactly. That is exactly what it is.
He is tough though, and he can fight.
He is tough. He can fight. He is physical, but I would say he's much closer to being a pest than a goon. I would say he has maybe been taking classes at the Matthew Tkachuk Academy for Pests.
Okay.
And he might even be an honors student. You know, he talks shit. He gets real smirky. You know, things get physical. He'll kind of be in the mix.
I could see like being a hockey player and wanting to like wipe that smile off his face.
Absolutely. Yeah. I could see that in like the heat of the moment. Like I, as a viewer, find it very charming. And as a Stars fan and as a Mason Marchment enthusiast, I love it and want to see more of it. I enjoy it a lot. But I would say he's definitely more in that sort of pest school.
Yep.
Along with Travis Konechny, who currently leads the Flyers in both points and penalty minutes, which is a duality that I really appreciate.
Points and penalties. Love it.
Yeah, that's he's one of your exceptions to sort of the goonery rules of, yeah.
He's like a small dog that is a little out of control.
Yeah.
At
exactly.
times.
Yeah, he's like a Chihuahua, but there's some like pit bull in his blood.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Chihuahua pit bull mix.
Yeah. Where you're just like, oh, that doesn't, okay. He's real little, but I'm a little scared. Like doesn't seem right. And it's a little funny looking, but it's kind of intimidating, I guess.
It's a Philly thing.
It's such a Philly thing. Oh, I was showing you a video of somebody, I can't remember who, but some player who used to play for the Habs and then got traded to the Flyers. But I guess the Habs had been playing the Flyers and TK was like, you're old, you need to retire. Like, you're going to be playing for Salzburg. Mm-hmm. And the guy was like, I mean, ouch.
That's right. Yeah. Got inside his head. He was like, yeah, no, that's a possibility.
Yeah, he's like, I guess, I mean, yeah, I probably will be. And then 3 weeks later, he got traded to Philly. And when he got there, Claude Giroux was like, hey, TK's in the dressing room. He's a little nervous right now because he just told you that you should retire. So he like went in and shook hands. And then TK kind of like held out his arms and they did a little hug and then like immediately got over it. But that's just TK in a nutshell. He'll say like the chirpiest shit. And then, but then you fall in love with him.
That's workplace shit. Like I've had that where, you can't stand someone, you say all this terrible stuff, and then all of a sudden you're on a project too with them, and it's fine. You got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. Yeah. You just kind of have to, that's the workplace. You just got to pull it together. Well, I guess we kind of started talking about Stars and Flyers players, so we can kind of maybe just transition right into talking about those games.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, we'll start with the Stars. So on Monday, the Stars played the Ducks, which that's great. That's an easy team, right? We should totally be able to beat them.
They're victory plus compatriots.
Yes, victory plus brethren.
Yep. Second in command on victory.
Yeah, we should.
Way at the bottom of the standings.
Brothers in arms. Technically not way at the bottom. I think they're 23rd right now out of 32. So not great, but certainly not as bad as
serviceable.
Serviceable is a great way to describe it. Yeah, it didn't go great for us.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting it to. We're our own worst enemy. Whenever we're doing well, we really have to sabotage ourselves.
Right. And there was talk before that game. I think there was a quote of Pete saying, it's not they have like a term for games that you should win or something.
Oh, a trap game.
Yeah. It's not a trap game unless you let it be a trap game. And I guess they let it be that.
They certainly did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was because we were playing the Ducks and the Sharks. So like the Ducks first and then the Sharks were going to be the next game. So everyone's like, oh, the Stars should keep doing well, except unless these are going to be trap games.
Right.
And yeah, the Stars fell right into the trap. So to start off with, our backup goalie started and let in one goal in under a minute. And then let in a second goal about 5 minutes later. So the Ducks ended up having 2 goals on 4 shots.
Oof.
And at that point, we had only taken 1 shot on goal.
Yeah, so that's a rough way to start the start the events.
That's a really hard way to get started. And I don't think we ever really found our footing again. We did have some decent chances, but Lucas Dostal has been doing great in goal this year for the Ducks and was really on his game again. Halfway through the second, Philadelphia persona non grata Cutter Gauthier scored and put the Ducks up 3-0.
Yep.
So we just were really, really flailing. We didn't really start to look alive until the third when Essel Lindell got us on the board. And then Matt Duchesne scored an absolutely filthy goal. And so we kind of looked like we had hope, only down 3-2. But with about 5 minutes left to go, the Ducks scored another goal and we just could never really right the ship. And so we lost 4-2.
Yeah.
So something that didn't really show up on the score sheet was that it looked like things really started clicking for Maverick Bourque. He was really playing really well. He was right in the middle of things. His line was generating the most opportunities.
Gotcha.
He was really noticeably good. And that leads us into Wednesday when we played the Sharks. So for weeks, the Stars fans have been complaining about how on our top line, Robe Hintz and Jason Robertson have been invisible.
Right.
Dodonov has been with them. You and I like Dodonov a lot.
We do.
He's a hustler. He works really hard. He's always creating opportunities. Some people don't appreciate him, but he's, I think he's a really versatile player.
Agreed.
But he has not been working on the top line. I think we can admit that.
Yeah.
He's trying. I feel like he's trying more than the other ones sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just not working out. Meanwhile, Wyatt Johnston has been on the third line and has also been working his butt off, but it just hasn't been really clicking for the most part.
Right.
He's had some glimmers in the last couple of games, but it still hasn't kind of all been getting put together. Well, since Maverick Bourque finally really started putting it together, Pete DeBoer said, hey, Maverick, you're ready to center the third line now, which meant that Wyatt was able to go back on the top line and we were able to put all three of them together like Stars fans have been begging for literal months.
Mm-hmm.
Because Rope, Robo, and Wyatt together have done some magic in the past.
Right.
So it seems like an obvious combination. It started to pay off immediately. Robo scored the opening goal off of a pass from Matt Dumba, which made it the first time in NHL history that two players with Filipino heritage have combined on a goal. Our special team circle of hell did crop up again, though. And at the end of the first period, the Sharks scored a shorthanded goal, which tied up the game 1-1. So that was not as good.
No, not as good.
But less than a minute into the second period, Wyatt scored a sweet goal off of an assist from Rope, which brought that top line magic back up again.
Yep.
And then Jamie Benn scored off of a pass from Logan Stankoven. So after the second period, the Stars were up 3-1. At the start of the third period, we were down to 5 D-men after Nils Lundqvist left the game early with an injury. With 6 minutes left in the third, the Sharks narrowed the gap with another goal, but then the Stars would score not one, but 2 empty net goals. One from Rope off a feed from Wyatt and another from Dodonov. So that means that everyone on that reunited top line scored.
Wow. See?
Yeah. So, and Pete DeBoer did confirm in the post game that he had been keeping Wyatt in that third line until he felt confident that Maverick could center the third line, which I guess.
Questionable choices.
I kind of feel like the first line is more important than the third line and that should be prioritized. But what do I know? I just, have a podcast and I don't coach a team. So,
yeah. I think we were talking about that because we get that on the Torts side with everyone complaining about lines. And it's like, you don't know the full details.
Right.
Although I feel like there's less to know with the Stars. It's just like there's less behind the scenes shenanigans and tomfoolery.
Yeah. With the Stars, it almost feels like everyone's so good that like the tweaks are so minute that they seem a little obvious almost.
Yeah.
And it's really the thing with the Stars is when something's not working and they keep doing it week in and week out, it gets a little frustrating. You're like, why can't you change this one thing up?
Right.
And then, of course, he finally did it. And then we're all like, okay, finally you did it and it worked.
Yeah,
Thank you. What have you been waiting for?
So that really doesn't help the Peter DeBoer case of I'm just going to do it this way and we'll keep doing it this way and it'll eventually work vibe, which I think you've mentioned people think.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then he changed things and then everything magically clicked.
And we're like, that's great that it clicked, but why did we have to wait like 2 months for this to happen?
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot. And then last night, the Stars played the Lightning in Tampa, which is always weird watching a Tampa game because we used to live in that area. And I don't know, seeing all of the buildings there, I don't know, I'm like, oh, I know that building.
Right. Yeah. It is a little bizarre.
It's very hideous there.
I'm not a fan of Tampa personally.
It's not great.
There's areas that are nice, but
Yeah, it's
As a whole, no thank you.
I don't know. I've gotten so used to seeing like the Dallas skyline, and it's so sort of charming and cute, and not the experience I get from Tampa. I don't know why. I've never liked the Lightning. I feel like I might have gotten into hockey sooner, but when I lived in Florida, the Lightning were my closest team, and I just have never vibed with them.
Right.
So I'm always happy to beat the Lightning, and beat the Lightning we did.
Hell yeah.
So Tyler Seguin continued to be on the struggle bus that he's been on all week. He keeps hitting the crossbar and hitting the post. Started with the Anaheim game and continued all the way through this game.
Yeah, he had that wide open net that he clanked it off the bar, right?
Yeah, left a mark on the bar and everything. So that was not great. He had one where we really could have been on the board first, but it didn't go in. So Tampa ended up scoring first, but we tied it up less than 2 minutes later after Ilya Lyubushkin.
You have trouble with that.
I have a really hard time with that name.
Just Lyubushkin. Don't look at it.
Well, but there's a why. You're supposed to say the why.
Well,
I guess I'll just say Ilya Lyubushkin. I'll just say it wrong, so I don't say it wrong the other way. Lyubushkin fired one off from the point that bounced in off of Dodonov's skate.
So it did hit Dodonov?
It did. It bounced off of his skate and went in.
Gotcha.
So I saw it on the replay later. Lyubushkin looked great all game. He's been really solid and capable addition to the blue line. He also looked great walking into the game.
Oh, yeah. You texted me the picture before the game started.
He had this like little cardigan and sweater and like
matching shoes
and like navy blue pants. And he looked adorable.
Yeah.
He looked very cozy.
He's got long legs.
He does. He has very long legs.
Yeah.
So, nope, he was looking fire on and off the ice last night. It was great. Cirelli scored a second goal for Tampa, but then we tied it up again off of a great top shelf shot from Miro. So we ended the first period tied 2-2. Even though we scored twice in that first period, it really wasn't our best, especially defensively. Like, we looked pretty sloppy.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't worried or concerned, but it wasn't like looking great. Like Tampa looked like the better team.
Right. And not saying that they looked particularly good.
No, but they were winning things, I guess.
They were. So they definitely got a talking to in the back, and they looked a lot better in the second period, winning more puck battles, not looking so loose defensively. And the second, I think we really played well, but nobody scored in the second. So there's not really much to talk about other than that.
No, it's good. I missed the second, I'm pretty sure. And
that's true. You did. Jake did have some really good saves. And also at one point, there was a big sort of scramble around the Stars net, and he was kind of out of the net, and Lyubushkin got right in the net and like sealed off the crease, and it was great.
Yeah.
And like fully made a save.
I did see that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think you just struggled with his name even harder that time.
I'm just going to start calling him Boosh, and you're just going to have to deal with it, even though I know it's confusing.
What about like El Boosh or something?
Well, Boosh is just his nickname.
Oh, man.
Like, hockey nicknames are not, original. Like, everybody has overlapping nicknames. So that's just what people call him, as Boosh. So.
All right. Stars Boosh?
Stars Boosh.
Stars Boosh, Flyers Boosh. Announcer Boosh, player Boosh.
It's going to get really confusing for you, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Well, I guess we'll just have to, when we're in the context of Stars, I'll know that it's a Boosh on the line now, because he's been up and down a little bit, right?
Yeah, sometimes he's sat out as like the healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really move up and down. Sometimes he's just not on the ice. Yeah, you're just going to have to use your context clues from now on. I know it's going to be hard because when I say Boosh got in the goal, you might get confused and think it's Brian Boucher because he's a former goalie, but he would definitely not be on the ice during a Stars game.
I would be confused at most. I'd be like, why is Boosh getting in the goal? What's he doing?
To be fair, you get confused all the time about all kinds of stuff. I can't be held responsible for you being confused.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to work on this. So let's just call him Boosh.
All right. We're just going to call him Boosh.
Okay.
The Thruple line did want to let us know that, hey, the first line might be stirring from their slumber, but the Thruple line is still on top of things. Halfway through the third period, Duchesne forced a turnover. Hall asked to the other end of the ice, dropped the puck back to Seguin, and then got it back and made a shot from a sharp angle and scored. It was really sick.
Yeah, it was a great looking goal. And I'm realizing as the season continues, like people's highlight packages of like, this season, here's what I did. Like, Duchesne's is going to look so good so far. Like, all his goals
are amazing.
They're really good looking.
Yeah. No, I think this is maybe his best season that he's played.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything he's doing is so good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the timing on that play. I think we were talking about that. Like he was just skating backwards and the pass and the timing and the angle. It was really nice.
I mean, I think we said that clearly they've gotten some sort of microchip to communicate by their brains. Because there's no possible way that he should have been able to drop that pass to Sagan the way that he did and then get it back.
Yeah.
It was so smooth.
Yeah. They're like the pilots. What's the movie with the robot Titan things?
Oh, Pacific Rim.
Yeah, so they're like Pacific Rim pilots, right? They have to like mind meld to control the robot, but there's 3 of them.
Right.
And that's their line.
Yes, they're a Pacific Rim throuple.
Yeah. Yeah, they're I can't remember what the name of those things are, but they're fighting kaijus. Jaegers, that's right.
I haven't even seen that movie since it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like the Jaeger line.
They are. That would be a good name for them if they didn't already have a name, which is the throuple.
Yeah, I think. But the mind meld thing seems very real.
It very, very much is.
And you showed me a picture of them like holding up each other, like with no shirts on in the locker room. And
I don't know if they were shirtless, but yeah, it was, I think, Duchesne and Sagan holding up Marchment after Marchment had his 5-point night.
Right. Funny picture.
Funny picture. They're just a bunch of cuties together.
No idea if they were shirtless, but in my mind they were, which says something.
It does say something, whether it's about you or about them, couldn't say, but there you go. And then we had one more goal in that game. A few minutes later, we got Rope Hintz scoring a power play goal on a breakaway off the rush. It was a vintage Rope Hintz goal.
Yeah.
And one that we have all been waiting to see for like 2 seasons now. He's really just not been looking like himself for a couple of seasons. And it was exactly what we wanted. It was like that burst of speed that he has. Mm-hmm. You know, being able to get it in on a breakaway, you know, that's been kind of a running joke whenever he gets a puck and you're like, oh, Ropey's got it. I was like, oh, it's on a breakaway. He's not going to get it in.
Right.
He did it. Hooray.
Yeah. And the style in which he did it, I don't know if that's how he normally does, but it seemed very nonchalant. He's like, yeah, just put it in the net. There you go.
It was classic.
Yeah.
It was very, very vintage Rope, and I liked seeing it. So we won 4-2, and, you know, Monday, not a great game. I don't think necessarily that either of our wins this week were the flashiest wins, but it was nice to see that the goals were really kind of being spread out amongst the team. We're really having sort of our depth come back.
Yeah.
Which was our big strength last year. So
they looked confident.
Yeah, which I will always take. Confidence goes a long way in this league.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the Flyers. On Monday, the Avalanche came to play the Flyers.
Yep.
So to start with, we couldn't even watch this game, and not just because it conflicted with the Stars, but because it was on TNT, which is the one hockey channel we don't have right now.
Right.
So we have Fubo, because that has the NHL network, and we can get Altitude Sports, so we can watch all the Avalanche games because we're in Colorado.
And the NHL network games.
I already said that, but yes.
Classic Fred.
Classic Fred. So we have NHL Network and Altitude Sports, because before we would miss any games like where the Stars or the Flyers would play the Avs because they were blacked out.
Right.
We also have ESPN Plus because that's where you get like the bulk of the games.
Right.
But apparently Fubo doesn't have TNT because capitalism. So if I wanted to watch games on TNT, I would have to pay separately for the Max subscription, which is like another, I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks a month, which I'm just not doing on principle. There's 1 month where the Stars play twice on TNT. So I will pay for that month and that month only.
Yep.
But I'm not doing it for the whole season.
No.
I'm already paying way too much money to watch hockey games.
Yeah.
It is stupid.
There's been talk about that, too. That hockey guy had a video that I read the title of. I don't watch that guy, but it was about the price of watching NHL and the challenge of watching NHL in the current market.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to add anything new to the conversation.
No, certainly.
It's
people are aware.
So frustrating. And if the Stars weren't already playing that night, I would be extra mad, because then I would want to watch the Flyers and I wouldn't be able to unless I decided to sign up for another platform. Luckily, the Stars were playing, so it was a conflict anyway.
All worked out.
We did see an interview that Torts gave to Cheesecake Factory and the rest of the gang at TNT, and he gave some good insights. He compared Michkov to Travis Konechny, and he said, TK is all over the place, and you never know what he's going to do, but he makes great offensive plays. So we want to allow him to do that, and then we'll decide when we need to bring him back, referring to sort of TK and Michkov, which I thought was really interesting. And I realized that unpredictability and the encouragement of it is what made me fall in love with the Flyers last season.
Right. Yeah. Torts is hands off with certain players. It's like, yeah, just go out there and do the thing that you do. And TK is one of them, and Michkov is apparently also one of them.
Yeah, he's like, okay, yes, you are chaotic, but you know what? Your chaos works. So just do your chaos. And then if it starts to get a little too chaotic, we're going to rein it in a little bit. But otherwise, just do your thing. And I think that that's great. It's like he takes the people who are like, okay, they're good, they're competent, but they need to do more. And he makes them more well-rounded. And then the people who have like this really innate talent and, you know, skill and sort of that it factor, he's like, just do your thing and then we'll sort of level you up in the other areas. But we don't want to like ruin that special.
Exactly. They're working with Michkov on 5-on-5 and away from the puck. And he said, you know, we knew that that was what the situation was going to be. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a similar kind of thing with TK.
I think he specifically said we knew with Meech that 5-on-5 was going to be a gong show.
Yes. And I did not look up the reference. I'm familiar with the Gong Show, but that one went a little over my head. That was a little boomery.
Well, the Gong Show, it was like basically a talent show. And if people were bad, you would ring a gong to get them to leave the stage. So they knew it was going to be a gong show, like it was going to be bad, basically. So, you know, the Stars are a very good team, but we're also a very predictable team. The Flyers are unhinged and chaotic.
Unhinged.
And, you know, I think the Stars can, in a way, almost only let me down. The expectations are so high. So everything kind of feels like a disappointment when they don't live up to their potential. The Flyers, though, you kind of go in knowing that you're probably going to be disappointed. So if they lose, you kind of aren't that mad about it anyway. But they could also do something really chaotic and amazing. They have nothing to lose, so they take bigger risks.
Yeah.
And when those risks pay off, it is just so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah, it's kinetic.
It really is. And to hear Tort say that basically they kind of encourage that, it just really kind of reminded me why I adopted the Flyers as my second team last year and why I'm so happy that you have adopted them as your team. Because when I started watching the Stars, they were a lot more sort of bad news bears than they are now.
Yeah.
And I love an underdog. So I'm happy that we're watching the Flyers.
I enjoyed that TNT interview. It was very different from the post-game, pre-game stuff that's not nationally televised that you have to go to YouTube to see.
Yeah, it was different from the sort of local Philly press that Torts has to deal with on sort of a daily basis, where they're just kind of telling their same little stories over and over again. I
feel like, you know, the national Torts interview, he presents a different side and speaks at a deeper kind of more, I don't know, level for a generic audience. And I feel like some of the Flyers fans maybe missed that like interview because all the things that they're complaining about, he's in there talking about at the national level of why he's making choices like he's making. And it makes sense to me. The man has a plan. Leave him alone.
I don't think they even watch his local post-game stuff, though, or read anything.
Right.
Because I think they just want to complain about him in a vacuum. They just want to see the things that he does, completely ascribe their own motivations to it, and then bitch about it.
That does seem to be the case. Because they're the things they're yelling about, he's talked about and explained.
Ad nauseum. So. Yeah, where the people are still complaining about him healthy scratching Michkov a couple of weeks ago.
He's explained it in detail.
Multiple times.
Leaving out the details of exactly what the altercations were about, but the reasoning and what he was looking to accomplish from it. And it obviously worked. And anyway.
And that was the plan right along, that he was not going to play every game this season.
Right. I don't know. It's
people just want to complain.
It's nuts.
I mean, I obviously just want to complain. I have a podcast about hockey. So, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. But if you're going to complain, be somewhat informed, maybe.
Right. Even just a little.
A little.
Little information.
Just a little. That's it. Yeah.
So, well, for the game itself, probably the most notable thing about this Monday game against the Avs was that they had the actual ceremony for Erik Johnson's 1,000th game.
Who? No,
I knew you were going to say that.
It's impossible for me to pretend that I don't know who Erik Johnson is now.
I made it my mission to let you know who Erik Johnson was.
Yeah.
He exists.
Oh my God. It's been Erik Johnson all week in this house.
All week. Because you refused to listen to me that he was a person that existed and I needed to tell you.
Man, I know more about that guy than most players in the NHL.
I didn't even tell you that much, honestly.
Well, it feels like it.
So, as we know, he played his actual 1000th game in Buffalo, where he spent one season. But the ceremony took place when we played the Avalanche, which really felt fitting because he spent 13 seasons with them, which was the bulk of his career. And he won the Stanley Cup with them. The Avs even brought Gabe Landeskog with them, which was great because he got to be part of the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, EJ was getting his photo taken with his wife and parents, and EJ's dad dragged Gabe into the family photo, which was very cute. From the highlights, it looks like Colorado maybe had 2 goals called back for goalie interference, which is always delightful to me because of the Duchesne debacle from the playoffs last season. In Game 6, when they called back a Marchment goal because Duchesne's ass allegedly interfered with the goalie.
Right.
Which did not happen and was not true. I was at that game.
You were.
So I know. The Flyers were down 2-0 heading into the third, and then the Avs widened their lead to 3-0 halfway through. Owen Tippett and Tyson Forrester both got on the board, but in the end, they couldn't tie it up, and they went down 3-2. So,
I mean,
that game. It was just a game.
I mean, Torts was, I can't remember if he was happy or mad or whatever, but he was definitely aware and mentioned it a few times that, like, the Avalanche are at a different level, saying the speed of the Avalanche just was too much for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is fine.
Very valid.
Be too much for me, too.
It's too much for me right now.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the Flyers played the Hurricanes. Again, it conflicted with the Stars game. And frankly, I didn't really feel like watching the highlights after I saw the score. I do know that the Canes scored roughly 30 seconds in. And then I know that Ryan Poehling had the sole Philadelphia score. But I think let's just move on to the next game because we watched that one.
Yeah. I don't think there was any positives out of that game. They played well at different times, maybe. I don't know. But.
Yeah. Again, it all kind of blurs together, especially when you don't watch that midweek game. All right. So yesterday, the Chicago Bedards played the Flyers. For the first half of the game, it really felt like the Flyers were outplaying Chicago. They were certainly outshooting them 19-9. But Chicago still had a 2-0 lead.
Yep.
Because sometimes that's just the way it happens. Peter Mrazek in goal was just having a hell of a game.
Bush kept talking about that, right?
Yeah, he was just making some great saves. See, I understood which Bush you were talking about because of context.
Oh, I was talking about Labushka.
You're such an asshole. Halfway through the third period, Couturier got a goal off of a pass from Ristolainen, and then a few minutes later, Noah Cates tied it up. So the game ended up going into overtime, tied 2-2. And then guess who scored the OT game winner?
It was Michkov.
It was off of a pass from who?
From TK.
Yeah.
It was a Torts shouted out how good that pass was. Michkov also did in his post-game interview. He said it was a good pass. It would have been hard not to put it in the net.
Oh, I didn't see that post-game. I need to watch that now.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, he was like, he was mentioning the pass. And I don't know. That would have been real hard for me to get control of that puck and put it in the net. But I'm also not Michkov.
Yeah, I mean, Torts was talking about, I think in the TNT post game, how good Michkov is at like really close passes, like 2-3 foot passes.
Close play.
And that was a pretty close pass from TK to Michkov.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's maybe kind of rubbing off. And that's great because that can be really hard when there's that big cluster of bodies in front of the net like that. So to be able to connect on a pass like that is super cool.
So good.
So good. It was great. So I enjoyed it. And it was a great sort of high note to end the week on.
Yeah, it was good. And that was another game the reporters were trying to paint as a trap game, possibly. And Torts is like, kiss my ass with that. Is that what he said?
Something like, he did say kiss my ass about something. I don't know if it was about the game. I think it was more about Michkov.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Yeah.
It was about Michkov being the savior.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the reporters were trying to present playing Chicago is, you know, a good time to like work on things because you're going to beat them. And he's like, we don't have any right to think like that. And nobody should be thinking like that in this league anyway, basically.
Exactly. But he was very much like, we are in the same echelon as Chicago right
he's like,
now.
Yeah. He's like, what do you see that's better about us than them?
We are on the same level. Like,
I like that. He was not having that storyline.
No, he certainly was not. And I enjoy that about him. Well, since, in the spirit of the holidays, I thought we would end the podcast with a little game today.
Yeah, we haven't done that.
We haven't done that in a couple weeks, I think.
And that'll be fun.
It will be. So, Thanksgiving is this week. So we thought maybe we'd have a little Friendsgiving potluck and invite some of our favorite hockey players to come by.
All right.
So I made a little guest list, and I decided we could talk about what we think that they might bring with them, assuming they even show up.
Well, yeah, I don't know that any of them are coming, but I'm gonna pretend that in my world they are.
I mean, I kind of hope they don't come because the house is a disaster. We're sick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not ready for hosting.
We're definitely not ready for hosting NHL people.
Also, our kid is really not going to be happy with it.
No.
Because she does not like hockey. She's going to be very annoyed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was thinking, let's start with an easy one. So, Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby.
Do you want me to tell you what I thought?
I think so, because I apparently didn't write down anything for him. I just scrolled to Sidney Crosby and I've got no notes.
All right. Well, I will take that one then, because I thought that was pretty easy. Last year, it came out that he's a pretty talented baker. So he's in charge of baked goods.
Oh, okay.
He's going to bring several kinds of pie, but obviously he's also going to bring his famous banana bread.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I really thought I had something for him, and now I know something more about him. So
there you go.
That's good.
That's good. Awesome. Glad I could help out. All right. What about Leon Draisaitl?
So I had, for me, Leon Draisaitl bringing dessert. He was bringing like a fruit cake or a Stollen or some kind of like German dessert. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Why? Oh, God, who let him bring dessert?
True. Those are not like the sweetest desserts.
Right. Yeah. So just German pastry, basically.
The way I think of it is that Leon Draisaitl isn't going to come to your stupid American party.
Well, yeah, for sure. Definitely not.
He's like, what does he have to be thankful for? Nothing.
Right.
That's just not a thing for him. He is going to send a gift because he's polite. So he's going to send a ridiculously over-the-top edible arrangement.
Oh.
Because it's the kind of thing you can pass off as an earnest gift, but really he's just doing it to be a troll.
Right. And he just had like his assistant do it.
Right.
He's like, yeah, send them something nice. And then he just walks away.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has an assistant, but...
Probably not. I feel like he's going to send something with like a lot of cantaloupe because he knows that nobody's going to eat the cantaloupe.
Oh, God, I hate cantaloupe too.
Yeah. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. All right. What about Garnet Hathaway?
All right. So... As you may know, I don't have a reason for a lot of these things that I come up with here. But
you don't have a reason for a lot of things in general.
Yeah, it's true. So Garnet Hathaway, he's bringing potatoes.
Okay.
He's bringing way too many potatoes.
So many potatoes.
And they're a little bit gluey because he overmixed them.
Oh, I could see that.
It's too much gluten.
Yeah. Like he could just really got into the pulverizing.
Yeah. But it's like a stock pot full of potatoes. And
I put down that he's bringing lobster rolls because a fun fact about him is that when he went to Brown University, he studied business and entrepreneurship.
Wow.
And he and one of his college teammates bought and operated a lobster roll cart and sold lobster rolls to make money while he was in school.
What a guy.
I know. So I thought that would be really funny.
That is funny. I love a lobster roll on Thanksgiving. That's nice.
Yeah. Show up with his little lobster roll cart and just do that. But I also said that the real thing he's going to bring to the party is the ability to corral the drunk uncle who tries to fist fight everybody.
Oh, yeah. You got security in Hathaway. Mm-hmm.
And then do you know who the drunk uncle is?
Is it somebody on the list?
It is.
Is it Jordan Bennington?
It is Jordan Bennington. And then I said Jordan Bennington is going to bring a half-empty package of Kraft singles and call it a cheese plate.
I've got him bringing a can of cranberry sauce.
That sounds really on brand.
Like in the can, just one.
And he's probably going to chuck it at somebody's head.
Yeah.
Because he can't find the can opener and he's really mad about it.
Yeah. I did look him up to try and understand who he is as a person. And apparently he's a villain of the NHL. But he's married to, do you know who he's married to?
Mm-mm.
Christine Prosperi. She was known for portraying Imogen Moreno on Degrassi.
Okay.
So he's married to the actress from Degrassi. They got married last year.
All right.
So
there, I learned a new thing too. I guess she's invited as well.
Yep.
Maybe she'll bring something better than Kraft singles and a can of cranberry sauce. 3
Kraft singles on top of a can of cranberry sauce. That'd be amazing.
Perfect. Perfect. And then gets in a fist fight with Garnet Hathaway.
Love it.
I'm down. It sounds like a pretty exciting Thanksgiving so far. Alexander Barkov.
That's an easy one.
All right. What do you think?
He's bringing smoked salmon dip. He's bringing the appetizer. He's bringing the mingling food, and it's obviously fish.
My dad will be really excited to find out that there's going to be smoked fish dip there.
From Finland, too.
Oh, man.
Because he's rich. He'll just have it flown in.
Of course.
Yeah.
I put down that he was going to bring his emotional support American, Matthew Tkachuk.
He's going to need him, probably.
Well, yeah, Matthew Tkachuk can do all of the schmoozing and socializing.
Yep.
And then Matthew will bring Finnish food so that Sasha Barkov will feel at home.
Yeah.
And then Matthew will also bring personalized plush bathrobes to commemorate the occasion.
I love it.
And insist that we all sit around wearing them after we eat.
And then after dinner, Barkov can DJ.
Yes, while we're in the sauna.
What did he say his DJ name was?
DJ Lazy?
DJ Layz, right?
I think so.
DJ Lazy. I love it.
Yeah, we're learning so much about the Panthers this year. And it's fantastic.
Need to track down some of his beats.
Yes, for sure. Some sick beats. What about John Tavares?
John Tavares. So yeah, I've got him. He's bringing the turkey.
I also put that.
Yeah, and it's organic. It's all natural. It was killed with humane methods. There we go.
Yes.
It's roasted on organic wood. The fire was started with flint. Just like real off-grid shit.
Yeah. We kind of had a similar thought. I said he'll volunteer to bring the turkey because that seems like a real responsible dad move. But I also said that unfortunately when he arrives, the turkey will be raw because his amulet's messed up with the ovens.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that he would have brought a good turkey, that's for sure. But he would have tried.
Yeah, no, I feel like he's got smart ovens and the amulet's interfered with the Wi-Fi signals.
Yeah. Man, we've got a lot of technology around this house. He's not going to be comfortable here.
He's definitely not going to be.
I got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, and we got 5G everywhere.
You're going to show him your new 3D printer, and he's just going to run screaming.
I'll be like, look, this is connected to the internet, and it talks to China, and he'll just jump out the window.
Yeah, it's not going to go well. Well, I did say that Seth Jarvis is going to have poultry covered.
Oh, okay.
Since John Tavares has fucked up the turkey.
Yeah.
So Seth Jarvis is out with an upper body injury right now, and apparently a few days ago he got bored and did an impromptu Q&A session on Twitter. Someone asked him what he would choose if he could only eat one thing for the rest of his life. And he said, I could live a happy life off of strictly chicken quesadillas. So I just pictured him bringing a whole stack of them and earnestly sharing his favorite food in the spirit of Friendsgiving.
Well, that's nice.
So that's what I thought he would bring.
Well, I apparently didn't have a thought on him either because
you're the one who wanted to invite him in the first place.
I know. Well, he'll figure it out. But as I scroll down, there's nothing written next to his name. But I like yours because that was information that I've learned about him. I think he's a fun guy. I think he's going to be great at the party. But
I like it.
Or not the party, the
Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving.
The potluck. So you suggested that we invite Gabe Landeskog and Eric Johnson together.
Might as well. I know who those guys are.
Yes, I did get you up to speed on how close they are. And they posted a nice picture of the two of them out on a nice date last night for Gabe's birthday, which everyone's like, wait, is Gabe just still in Philly since Monday?
Yeah.
Apparently. I said they'd bring some nice bottles of wine from their favorite vineyard because it seems like maybe that's a thing.
Oh, yeah. They're out in Napa just
cruising vineyards together. just
in a convertible Saab.
just having bro time.
Yeah. I had them bringing stuffing, but only 2 portions of it.
And they're going to feed it to each other.
Exactly.
I like it. All right. Mason Marchment. Can't have a party without inviting Mason Marchment.
You sure can't.
What do you think he's going to bring?
For Marchment, this is a little play on words, but a string bean casserole.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. That's dad jokes right there.
Yeah, that's, I workshopped that one.
I actually asked ChatGPT for help on this one. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is the most chaotic side dish you could bring to Thanksgiving dinner? And it suggested a DIY mashed potato bar with mashed potatoes and all kinds of toppings like shredded cheese, bacon bits, sour cream, chives, caramelized onions, and gravy. And it even suggested marshmallows and chocolate chips for the truly unhinged. And I could actually kind of see him doing that.
Yeah.
Including right down to bringing wood to build a bar.
I love it.
I feel like maybe
that.
Lucky Charms would be involved for some reason.
Right?
Some real leprechaun shit.
Yeah. No, I'm with it. I like it.
Yeah. It just seems great. And he'd wear his bathrobe while he was assembling it, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real good.
All right. And then to wrap it up, you wanted to invite Quinn Hughes, but I insisted we invite all 3 of the Hughes brothers.
Yeah,
it's
that's
rude
fine.
to just invite one.
Yeah.
All right. What did you think they would bring?
Oh, so I've got them on drinks.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
Yeah. So Quinn's bringing wine.
Right. Because he's a grown-up. Jack's bringing whiskey. Because he's cool.
Because he just seems like a whiskey kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever the other one is. Huh?
Luke.
Sure. Luke, whatever. He's bringing soda.
Oh,
I don't know who that guy is.
fair enough. Yeah,
I've seen a picture of him, but
he's the youngest use.
yeah, he apparently plays hockey.
We kind of had similar approaches. I said Quinn has oldest child energy, so he's definitely bringing the most practical and traditional dish, which would probably be green bean casserole.
Okay.
But somehow he will have found the one that is my grandmother's recipe with the Swiss cheese.
Hell yeah.
And he will have made about 16 batches, so enough to feed all of the hockey players.
Love it.
He's just really considerate that way.
Yeah.
Jack would also try to bring something kind of practical, but would go really unnecessarily over the top with it. So maybe like mac and cheese, but he'd make it with like 11 different kinds of cheese in it. And it would just be like maybe just
too much cheese.
Three too many cheeses.
Yeah.
And then I also don't know too much about Luke Hughes, but he is the youngest brother. So I feel like he's probably still figuring life out. So he's showing up with store-bought rolls, but they're the King's Hawaiian rolls because he feels like those are maybe fancy enough for a special occasion.
All right. That's good. Yeah.
So, I mean, I hope people show up because otherwise we're going to have to cook. And
yeah. Nobody's coming to our party.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I guess I'm going to have to cook.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Party. Friendsgiving. Sorry. It's not a party.
I guess if you're going to have Friendsgiving, you got to have friends.
And they can't be cats.
I mean, they can be, but not going to trust them to cook. All right. Well, that's the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on both Tumblr and Instagram at Ice is Slippery Pod, where I post content whenever I remember. We're also begrudgingly on Twitter now at Slippery Ice Pod. If, like Fred, you are afraid of social media, you can also email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we'd love to hear your spicy takes or get suggestions for future games. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.